Welcome back to WagerTalk.com. Charlie Strong has the Texas Longhorns going for their third straight victory. I'm Marco D'Angelo, joined in studio with Scott Spreitzer. And Scott, is this a mirage with Texas, or did he finally figure things out there?
I don't dislike Charlie Strong. I don't think he's able, for some reason right now, to recruit the kind of quarterback he wants for his offense. You know, he came into a very easy situation for the athletes at Texas when Mac Brown left, and he did have to straighten a lot of things out. So he disciplined this team. He kicked off a lot of malcontents, and give him credit for beating Oklahoma a few weeks ago. The win last week over Kansas State, a little bit misleading. Kansas State was coming off the heartbreaking loss to TCU, followed by the absolute butt kicking they took by Oklahoma, knocked the snot out of them. And then they're basically demoralized, drained, and everything else, and they get beat by Texas 23-9. This has the feeling, with Texas laying, I think, 6.5 points as we talk about it, of one of those kind of late season, late October, Ames, Iowa, evening games where Iowa State, flying under the radar, not so hot record, comes in and sneaks up on somebody who's favored over them.
Flying under the radar might be, you know, just an understatement here, because if you look at what they're doing, they've been getting smacked around.
Sure.
But when you face you look at their schedule, they've got 5 losses. 4 of the 5 losses are to undefeated teams, and then you go through the gauntlet of Texas Tech, the one team that wasn't undefeated, but you got to go up and down the field. So you get done with them, and then you get TCU and Baylor. I mean, they're probably just getting their breath back from chasing those 3 teams.
That's what I meant by flying under the radar. I mean, look at the schedule. Like you said, they've played. It's been one, like you said, gauntlet after another of opposition, murderer's row, if you will. You know, so I agree. I mean, that's why I think this team's a little bit undervalued at 2-5.
Definitely. And then to go to the flip side, I got to say, Texas, I think, is overvalued right now because of the things you said. And to add 1 point to the Kansas State game, they had a ton of injuries last week. That line took an absolute, you know, it went shooting up middle of the week when that came out. And then go back to the Oklahoma game, and that was like Texas's signature win for the season. But how many times have we seen a bad Texas team go to the Red River Shootout? And as we say, like, you know, Thanksgiving week will be coming up, and that's when we got all the major rivalries that weekend. I always say that week I put my stat books away for the season because you can't handicap just based on numbers whenever it's rivalry games like that. And, of course, the Texas-Oklahoma is always that way.
When it's the Horns and the Sooners hooking up, you throw the stat book away. Absolutely correct. And, you know, another additional situation to add to this game is that Paul Rhodes, the head coach of Iowa State, canned Mark Mangino, the offensive coordinator, for 19 games in Ames, Iowa. They were, boy, I don't know how that hire ever happened, because they were on just a complete, not a different page, they were in a different book, maybe a different library as far as what they want to do. Paul Rhodes wants a run-based philosophy. He's changed quarterbacks. He's gone with this kid Lanning now over Sam Richardson, and Mangino wants to throw the ball every possible chance he can get. It never meshed, besides the fact they played that incredibly tough schedule. But now it's Rhodes with a nice running back in Mike Warren, who should be a 1,000-yard back by the end of the season.
All right. Well, you know what? This is your video best bet for the week, so let's go ahead and tell the listeners who it is. I think they figured it out, but make it official.
I think this is a game where Iowa State is not only going to cover the point spread, but I'm not going to be shocked if they're going to come through and win this game outright. And it's a situation where every year it seems like Iowa State comes through against one big-name opponent who's favored over them by at least a touchdown. In this case, as Marco said, you got kind of an overrated Texas Longhorn team feeding a lot off of Oklahoma and Kansas State, those 2 wins. I like the fact that Iowa State's getting back to what they want to do under Paul Rhodes, run that football some more. Mike Warren's over 700 yards on the season, and now I think they get it done. So I'm taking the Cyclones plus the points in this one.
Good stuff, Scott. You've got a big play on Saturday. Tell the listeners what you got going.
Main events, 5% main events currently are hitting at about, but they're hitting at exactly 67% on the season. Our next goes Saturday. We didn't have one last week in college football. We did cash a 5% play, though, an easy winner with Arkansas in 4 overtimes. But this week we do have a 5% main event. You've heard about them before. We've gone undefeated with these teams a couple of times along the way throughout the years. And again, this year we're hitting 67%. You don't want to miss out. It's only $30 right here at WagerTalk.com.
And I'll tell you what, I'll let the listeners save $10 on that, Scott. We've got a coupon for this week. It's Halloween, so let's go treat, just the word treat, and the number 10, and you'll get $10 off. Just enter that at checkout and save $10 on Scott's play or anybody else this weekend at WagerTalk.com. Be sure to check out all the other videos we have this week available at WagerTalk.com.